Hello, um, I'm back. So, in this tutorial, I'm gonna show you how to make a mesh for Roblox, for Roblox Studio using Blender. I had another video on this before, but it's outdated and there's some other features I need to show you. So here's what you get when you open Blender. You can just press general, or you can just click anywhere. I'll make a general. So here you get Blender. I'll teach you the basic controls. You can hold down your middle mouse button, so press on your scroll wheel and you can move your mouse and move around like this, or you can just go into this thing and you can move it. Also, you can zoom in and out with the scroll wheel, and if you hold down your scroll wheel and then press shift, you can pan around like this. Okay, so first we need to model our mesh. Also, someone asked me to make a tutorial on how to make a knife, so I'll just go ahead and make a knife. Yeah, so we don't need the camera, we don't need the light. You can just press on the camera, press X on your keyboard and press delete. Same with the light. Now press on your cube and press tab to go into edit mode. You'll see that these tools over here change. That means you're in edit mode. Or you can just go over here and change it to edit mode. Here you can start making your mesh. If you know how to use Blender, you can just use the shortcuts, or here are the tools. You can have the scale tool, so you can scale it, and then you have the rotate tool. You can rotate it like that. The move tool. Also, you can extrude. For example, if I go over here and select faces, now I can select different faces. I can drag this out to extrude it. Then I can scale it like this. And yeah, you can play around with the controls. And yeah, I'm just gonna make a new cube, and I'll quickly use some shortcuts to model a basic mesh. So here we go, it's a time lapse. Okay, so I've completed the mesh of my knife here. Now you see it looks like it has a lot of, it's low poly, and that's because it's not shaded smooth. So go back to object mode, right here, and right click it and shade smooth, and you see all of that, those lines go away. Yeah, so now we have our knife. Now say we want to give it a texture. We want to make the blade look white, and then the handle, we want to make it like a different color. And yeah, so let's make a texture. First of all, select this, go back into edit mode, press A to select everything, and press U on your keyboard and choose Smart UV Project. Here, just press this arrow to make the margin like this, like the island margin. I hope you can see that. Make the island margin 0.03. Press OK. So now you unwrapped your mesh. You can go back into object mode. Now click on your mesh, and over here on these tabs, go into texture paint. So here is your knife. It's pink because it doesn't have a texture. So create a texture over here. You should have a panel. Press on the plus right here. It says no textures. And press this plus right here. And choose base color. Yeah, you can choose metallic if you want. Old. I don't know how to work with any of these other ones. I only know how to make a base color, and it's the best one to use. Okay, so you can name it whatever you want. You can just name it. For me, I'll name it knife texture. Here is the resolution of the texture. You can just leave it like that. You can choose the base color, but that doesn't really matter. We'll change the color later. And yeah, press OK. And you see your knife turned, or your mesh turned black. Now go over here, and on this window you can scroll to zoom in and out, and you can move like this by holding down the middle click. So over here on this button, press it, and you should have knife texture on it. So press here and choose knife texture. Okay, now try painting on here. You see you are painting. That's not really helpful. We want to paint only some of the faces. So while you're in this window, go into edit mode by pressing tab. Select the faces that you want to paint. Okay, so right now I want to make only the blade white. So I would select, first of all, go into face select, right, like this, and select all of the faces that you want to paint. Like that. You can go out of edit mode by pressing tab again. Okay, now see this button right here. It says paint mask. So just press that, and now you see it selected the thing that you want to paint. So everything that it shows right now, you can only paint on this section. But I want to paint right here too, so I didn't select all of the right things. So you can turn that off, go back into edit mode, and you can finish selecting the faces that oops. I'll quickly select it all again. Go back into object or into texture paint mode by pressing tab, and enable this again. I can see that it's still not working. I'll fill in those details later. Well, anyways, you can see that you can only paint on this black part. Also, you can choose your color right here. I'll choose it a little bit darker, and like that. Also, you can choose the strength right here and the radius. So I'll just paint everything gray. Okay, looks good. So now when I exit from this mode, from paint mask, you can see that everything is black except for the things we painted. I'll make the radius a little bit smaller. I'll paint over the details that I missed. Also, a quick tip: once you've selected all of your once you've selected the faces that you want to paint, you can simply use the bucket tool right here, and you can just click it and everything fills the correct color. Okay, I'm saving it. Oh yeah, I think that's why I keep losing my progress. Go right here, image, save, knife texture, not PNG. Okay, so every time you do command or control S to save the project, do alt S to save the image. go over here and press Alt S. Okay, so that's how to not lose your progress. Okay, I bet you if I press tab, Blender's gonna crash. It didn't. That's nice. Okay, so let's say I want to grab these faces over here. There. Now if I exit edit mode, I'll turn on this. You can see we can paint over the grips. Let me quickly save and Alt S over here. If you want to save your image, you have to move your cursor into this window and then press Alt S. And over here, you can press Control S or Command S. Okay, so let's make this a dark gray. Oh yeah, you can just use the bucket tool and select the correct color. There's a different color palette for the normal brush and for the bucket fill. Okay. And now we can just save Alt S. Okay. And I'll go back into edit mode and I'll select everything else. Hopefully this works. I'll quickly save it. And it looks like it works. We can see the black is only on the handle. Okay. I'll paint this a brownish color. Oh yeah, bucket tool. And of course I need to choose the correct color. And then darker. There. Maybe a little bit lighter. And more orange. Okay. And yeah, there we go. Oops. And you can see that there's a little bit of an error right here. I'll just take the brush. Oh, okay. I just had to restart Blender, I guess. If something doesn't work, try saving and restarting Blender. Okay. I think the knife is ready. I'll save the file. Alt S the image. And now we're done. So you can go back to the layout tab. You can see our texture is not there, but it's actually there. So if you press Z on your keyboard and go into material preview, it's gonna load. And you can see your texture right there. Okay, so go to File and Export FBX. Actually, yeah, FBX also. Yeah, FBX works. What you can also do is export it as an OBJ. Yeah, wavefront OBJ. Yeah, I think wavefront is better for this one because it has a texture. If it was a normal mesh without a texture, I guess it could be good to use FBX. But if you use OBJ, I think it loads the texture. And yes, I'm going to export it as a OBJ. Tutorial knife.obj. Okay. And once you see that it exported, stay in Blender. If you haven't already, go back to the texture paint, go over here into this tab, press image. I've already done this, as you saw, but save image, save the texture, and make sure you save it. Okay, you can also save the blend file and go to Roblox Studio. Okay, so it's done updating. So go into the workspace and add a new object. Insert a mesh part. So click on the mesh part and right here in the properties, go into the mesh ID and select your mesh. So in this case, tutorial.obj. Okay, so now it's gonna say your mesh contains location data. Would you like to move your mesh to a given location? No. Also, it's gonna say your mesh is, oh, never mind. There it is. We have successfully made a mesh. But for some people, the texture doesn't load. I saw that the texture doesn't load for some people. And if your mesh comes like this, if it doesn't have any texture, so here's what you're gonna do if it doesn't have it. Go into the texture ID, press add image, choose a file, and navigate to the place where you saved your texture image. So I saved it to knife texture, not PNG. Create, and now you have it. You have your knife. You can scale it. You can go into model and change it to 0 so you can scale it smoothly, like so you can make it smaller. And there you have it. You have a knife. For some people, I saw that the mesh didn't load, like it was transparent. That could have been because either I think Roblox blocks meshes if your account is under 13, which mine isn't, but for some people if your account is under 13, then maybe that's why the mesh doesn't load. I'm not sure though, but sorry if that's what happens. Anyways, yeah, that's how you make a mesh. Hope you enjoyed.